Hi, my name is Miss Hurst, and I am a seventh grade English teacher. I'm gonna maybe teach some lessons to you this year. So today we're gonna be talking about how good readers really take the time to think about not only who their characters are, but why their characters do what they do. So the words we're going to use for those in today's lesson are character traits, so who they are, what describes them, but also character motivations, why they make the decisions they make, um, and what makes them do those things. So we're going to do this with two kinds. The novel excerpt from Joy Luck Club that you guys read yesterday, and we're going to look really closely at both the narrator and her mother today. So I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to focus on the narrator, and then you guys are going to do some work with the mother. So I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see what I am talking about. So I want to share, stop share. I'm going to share my whole screen with you so you can see both. So like I said, today we're going to look at traits and motivations. So we're going to think about how we can describe the narrator and why she does certain things that she does. So when I was thinking about the story, two kinds, and I was thinking about the narrator, I was thinking when I'm thinking about the things that she does, she works really hard not to put effort in when she's playing the piano. So I'm actually going to find that part of the text. So I'm going to look through, and I think at this point she's still trying to figure out what kind of prodigy she's going to be. Actually, yeah, no, let's start there. So when she is playing piano with Mr. Chong, see if I can find this good part of the text where she's playing. So this part is where she is learning, or she's watching the little girl on TV play the piano. And then, okay, so now she's met Mr. Chong. She finds out he's deaf, and so he can't actually hear. And she starts to notice that he doesn't actually know what she's playing. So in paragraph 42, it says, if I hit the wrong notes because I hadn't practiced enough, I never corrected myself. I just kept playing in rhythm, and old Chong kept conducting his own private reverie. So over here on my chart, I'm going to put this line as a piece of evidence, and I'm going to say, if I hit the wrong notes because I hadn't practiced enough, I never corrected myself. I just kept playing in rhythm. And I'm going to put 42 in parentheses there because that shows me what paragraph it was in. So this is a good way to cite it so that when someone else is looking at it, they know exactly what paragraph to go to. So I've hidden the rest of the story because right now I'm just going to explain, what does this tell me about the narrator? So it tells me a couple of things. First of all, she's not putting very much effort in. So when I'm thinking about how I could describe someone who doesn't put very much effort in to being good at things or doing things, I think that the narrator really takes the lazy way out in this situation. It really wouldn't be more difficult just to learn to play the piano, but she doesn't try. I think that makes her lazy. But I also think it's important to say that the fact that she figured out that she could not put in any effort means she's kind of clever. She also found a loophole in her mother's assignment, which makes her clever. So I've given the evidence, but I've also explained the evidence. I'm going to put the words in bold. So I think she's lazy, and I also think she's clever. So this was a part of the story where I really felt like she showed us who she is as a character, right? She's really clever. She's also kind of lazy. She's not going to try very hard unless she has to. I also think that she shows us who she is when she stops giving her mother her best effort, right? So earlier in the story, make this small again. Earlier in the story, before her mom decides she's going to play the piano, and she's trying all the different things. She's like having her mom's having her like watch uh, the TV shows with the kids that know all of the all of the capitals and read the Bible and try to remember every detail and things like that. And she decides she is going to stand up to her mom, right? So in paragraph 19, she says, I looked at my reflection, blinking so I could see more clearly. The girl staring at me was angry, powerful. This girl and I were the same. I had new thoughts, willful thoughts, or rather thoughts filled with lots of won'ts. I won't let her change me, I promised myself. I won't be what I'm not. So now on nights when my mother presented her tests, I performed listlessly, my head propped on one arm, pretended to be bored. So over here I'm going to put that, like the last lines of paragraph 19 and the first lines of paragraph 20. I won't be what I'm not. So now on nights when my mother presented her tests, I performed listlessly, my head propped on one arm. I pretended to be bored. This is paragraphs 19 and 20. I'm going to go ahead and cite that again. So again, I'm going to make this bigger. I think that this tells us a lot about the narrator. Earlier we said she was lazy, right? She did not put the effort in piano because that wasn't something she wanted to do. I think that this part kind of shows the opposite. She is kind of sticking to her beliefs no matter what it takes. So despite her mother's continual insistence that she practice and try to find her skills or talents, the narrator stubbornly refuses. She is very insistent when it comes to things she does and does not want to do. So again, I'm going to go through, I think stubborn is a good word to describe her, so I'm going to put that in bold, and insistent. When she wants something, she's going to do whatever she has to do to get her way. So now what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to take the time to go through into the same activity with the mother. I want you to think about how you can describe her and what makes you think that. So think about what you learned about the mother, what kind of person she is, and what words can describe her. And I want you to find evidence and then explain how that proves it. I want you to pause this video while you find 2 pieces of evidence and at least 2 traits that explain those pieces of evidence. Okay, so hopefully you have paused and found some traits of the mother, and we're going to move on to the next part of this lesson, which is a little bit different. So we've been focusing on who the mother is, on the mother and the narrator are as people, these character traits. Now I want to think about why the characters are the way they are and why they do the things they do. So in order to really find good actions to look at, I want to think about when the characters are the most passionate, when they do the things that are the most shocking or the most aggressive. So in this story, I'm thinking one thing that would be good is at the very end of the story with the narrator, when she I'm gonna go see if I can go all the way down because it's at the very end of the story. When she finally goes and gets the piano, because that was kind of a big shift for her. So why did she shift and finally start thinking about getting the piano? So she says, last week I sent a tuner over to my parents' apartment and had the piano reconditioned for purely sentimental reasons. My mother had died a few months before, and I'd been getting things in order for my father a little bit at a time. So I'm going to put that as my evidence here. This is the part of the story that I'm going to explain. Last week, I sent a tuner over to my parents' apartment and had the piano reconditioned for purely sentimental reasons. My mother had died a few months before, and I had been getting things in order for my father, ... That is paragraph 92. So I chose that again because it was a big shift, right? She had left it there for a long time, even after her mom said she could have it. And so I'm going to try to think of what caused that big shift. What caused her to do that? So this is an interesting action because it is a big shift, but it also states explicitly why she does it. So sometimes the motivations are really easy to find. You don't really have to think too deeply about it. So this section states explicitly why she is doing what she is doing, aka having the tuner sent over. Her mother has died, and she's helping her father out, right? So she's kind of helping clean up, helping get things back in order. So this part is pretty explicit. We don't have to think. I'm going to make a note here. Sometimes we have to infer why a character does something. This is going to happen more often when the character that we're looking at isn't the narrator, because, right, the narrator almost gives us reasons sometimes. We wouldn't know why if she wasn't the narrator. Sometimes, though, the narrator might not tell us exactly why they're doing something, or sometimes they might tell us why they think they're doing something, and we can even go a little bit more deep into it. So again, when I'm thinking about why the narrator does the things she does, I look for big shifts in behavior. When she does something really passionate or really shocking, why would she do that? So the first thing that came to my mind in this story is when she says the really hurtful thing to her mom. So this is after the piano recital, when she is like, I don't want to play piano anymore, and they're arguing about how there's only two kinds of daughters, and she said, I could sense her anger rising to its breaking point. I wanted to see it spill over. And that's when I remembered the babies she had lost in China, the ones we never talked about. And I wish I'd never been born, I shouted. I wish I were dead like them. So I'm going to put that as my quote here. So she said, and that's when I remembered the babies she had lost in China, the ones we never talked about. Then I wish I'd never been born, ... I wish I were dead like them. That is paragraph 77. So this tells us earlier that she wants to make her mom angry. Okay, so I'm going to make this big again. So the narrator explicitly says she wants to make her mom angry. Also, we can infer that she wants to make her mom angry. She specifically notes that they never talk about the other babies, so she knows this is sensitive for her mom. And so we know for a fact she's trying to upset her mom, right? We can infer it, and there's some evidence that goes with it. However, I want us to think about why she's trying to upset her mother. So if we think back, she was embarrassed at the piano recital, and then she realized she had disappointed her mother. She thought she was done with piano, and then her mom wants her to go to piano. So I think, uh, since we know she doesn't want to do piano anymore and she's arguing with her mother, I think I can infer that she wants to upset her mom so much that her mom will stop trying to get her to practice. She thinks she will make her mom give up. Okay, so I've really analyzed why she makes a couple of the decisions she makes, and that can really help us understand our character really better. So I want you guys to take the time to think about a couple of points in the text where maybe the mother does something shocking or does something really passionate or confusing. And I want you to really analyze why the mother does those things. And I want you to think back, and I want you to remember that good readers are really going to consider what their characters' traits are and what their motivations are for why they do things, because that helps them understand the book better. All right, go ahead and get started on working with the mother.